Hey curious people, plug soup. It's a popular term these days for the way that we get these goodies out of the moulded plugs. I'm not actually doing moulded plugs right now. I'm currently processing these 3-pin plugs. Now, you know me, I want the brassy goodness, but I don't just want the brassy goodness that you get. You also get some copper goodness as well. And let's not forget the trusted fuses. Now, there's been lots of videos on how people do their plug soup. I'm going to show you a bit later a slightly different way that I do mine. Bit experimental, but we'll see. These are an absolute beast. Now, lots of people have said to me, just use bolt cutters. Yes, I could do that, but then you're going to lose. If you bolt cut, the only bit you're going to get is that. Right? Which means you're going to lose that. Well, to me, that's a no-go. But that's because I'm a hobby scrapper and I have time to do this, you know. And I spend many an hour over many years doing plugs. Not just since I've been doing YouTube. Here's one I did earlier. This is one that I've actually taken the copper bottoms off, which are really easy to get off. I end up, and that's very heavy. So this is one that's just still got all the bits on that need separating. So I've got most of the other bits off, the plastics and all of that, but I need to separate the copper from the brass. But I actually quite like separating them. You can tell the really old ones. So this coming a bit later. This, so easy, literally. If you do this, that's the main one that will separate. But if you also do these, boom, boom, you then really easily can pull away the whole lot, like that. Because this is now released. Easy. And that just push straight out. Now, if that won't push straight out, just give it a dink with the hammer. I'm sure there'll be an example of that here. I've done this whole bag was full. Oh, actually, I've got another one. Oh no, so this is they're the more transformery type plugs. Yeah, this was full and I've done it pretty much now. Should have put my camera on a bit earlier, but you know when you just come up here and you're like, people have seen this over and over again, and then you think, oh, actually, maybe I should show it. Well, I've been meaning, I said quite a couple of months ago, probably more than a couple of months ago actually, that I was going to do a plug soup with a twist. And I know that Ralph Ulrich has done one, or nearly finished, so I'm waiting for his to go out before I put mine out. Okay, here's an example. So this one, oh no, it's come now. It was a little bit stiff, but it's come. No, there is one that's stuck. So that one's being stubborn. So all I do, there we go. It's falling out. I love the little pluggy faces. And then I found my old bag of plugs that I'd done. I think I did it on a live stream. So I sketched E-Waste Mike on the back of one of them, which he said looked nothing like him. And I sketched Brissy Boy on another, which he said he wanted, but I lost it. But I will at some point send that to you, Brissy Boy. I doubt Mike wants his, but yeah. I just sometimes think, well, that's a bit of plastic. I don't want to just chuck that away. What can I do with it? Well, that's the sort of random stuff I do. Anyway, so this is an odd one. This is an adapter that's turning a European 2-pin into one of our 3-pins. So for these ones, you still have to just undo this screw and then it'll open up like this. but they're not as good inside, obviously, because we've got these, but that's now another moulded plug, so I can chuck that in with my moulded. There's a few of those in there. We are lucky enough over here that our pins, that we have got some nice, quite a lot of brass on our plugs compared to other places. This one's stuck. Oh, doesn't that look gorgeous though? Doesn't it sound lovely too? Yeah. So yeah, it's just really nice watching this stuff add up. But I do think not all might be quite as it seems with plugs, and I'll get onto that later. Now, I didn't weigh these, but I will weigh the moulded plugs. I'll weigh them up so you can see some yards will take plugs, have a price for plugs. So what I'll do is show you the amount of effort that's in actually processing them, and see what price you can get for the weight of plugs and the weight of just the brass. Well, the brassy ferrule in the back is often actual brass. Here we go, here's an example. This one. Now, you'll magnetic test all these screws and they'll be ferrous, fake brass. But this one, not quite at the top, but you can try. I reckon a neodymium magnet would pick it up. No magnetic pull. So, just to get that out, it's easy peasy. A little snip here. And if you want, even a little snip there, but you don't often need to do that. I get my little 3mm punch and just pull it out. Sometimes it comes with no plastic on it whatsoever, but typically when I'm giving an example on camera, of course, it's never going to do it that way, is it, guys? Because that would be too easy. And then look, you've got a nice brassy ferrule, and of course they add up. Oh, there's just a few in the bottom of the V block here. The rest have just chucked over there with the rest of it. So yeah, get the brass. Okay, so that's just the plugs that you can easily unscrew. Just wanted to show you that. And then we'll come on to plug soup with a twist. Shall I weigh and process these beauties for you? Oh man, you know when you think you're done on the plug front, and then you open a bin and you remember, oh yeah, that's where I was putting bags of plugs. Darn it! So many of the damn things. Don't think these are the unscrew, there are some. Right, so on the it's rather disconcerting. On the separation of these bits front, quite often this bit of insulation would actually just pull off like so. That's easy. And then actually, if you want to get your copper goodies, these usually pull off as well with a little bit of force to reveal the beautiful copper wire. Because me, like everybody, I let them build up way more than I should do. Okay, so now I don't bother getting this screw out and totally separating, because obviously brass is made up of copper anyway, so that tiny amount there is going to be non-existent in a melting pot. So lots of them have a copper top. Trying to find an example. So like these ones, these are really easy. You just literally pinch them with the snips and it comes away. Easy peasy, just for the purpose of a rough way. Okay. Yeah, exactly that. 1.7 kilograms. Unsorted, it's 1.7 kilograms of dirty brass. Okay, so I have separated up those bits and bobs, and we have a little pile of fuses. Right, 151 grams of fuses. And, oh yeah. So this is the brass. Now obviously some of them have got the wrappings on. The newer plugs should all have these. And that is to stop a plug being partially inserted enough so that the main pin can open the other two pins, and someone can put their fingers behind and technically electrocute themselves. So any new plug should have these little bits of insulation around, but that's nothing, that's fine, you can just leave that on there. Well, my yard would take that as clean brass, as just brass. They wouldn't be bothered about that. I know some yards are incredibly fussy, but... So if I wanted to weigh this in, got 1.2 kilograms of brass there. There we go, 1.2. Yum. Oh wait, what's this? What is this doing in there? Yeah, still 1.2. So yummy. And in here, if the prong is white brass, that's fine. I can't be bothered to be separating things like this, guys. I will separate the copper ends off of the brass because it's pretty easy to just pull these off. And it's just copper. So 2.45 ounces, 69 grams we've got there of just copper. Remember, this was a small pool of plugs, this one, and then the mixed brass and copper, 179. That adds up quick. And make a good ingot, and bearing in mind that brass is made from copper anyway, that is not going to be a problem. And then there was the tiny amount of brassy ferrules. Only 2 real brass screws. And it's a grand total of 13 grams. Which I will now just chuck in with the brass, because that's what it is. And then these are the little bits of cordage you get out of the 83 grams, which is actually 57 grams without the pot. Now, sometimes this will literally just pull off, and you can just chuck it in with your your copper, but I won't bother, that, I'm just going to singles, to be honest. So, see how many fuses we had there. Okay, so 1 plug, 60 grams. So what did I say? 57 times 60, 3,420 grams. So let's go about nearly, we'll round it up, nearly 3.5 kilograms of plugs. Will give you we'll round it up again to be fair, about 1.5 kilograms of nice weighing in goodies. Well, I can't find any yards that are giving a price for scrap plugs on the internet, and my yard, it's Sunday, so I can't call up my yard to see if they even take plugs and what the prices are. But for brass at the moment, it's between 4 and 4.50 a kilogram, and so just for this bit alone, you can imagine 1.4 It was nearly 1.5, wasn't it, with the other little bits rounded up. Taking into account the copper price at that. So let's say we've got about conservatively about £6 worth of brass there. Okay. So brass / tiny bits of copper. So we'll work with a rough estimate of about £6. Of course, I didn't take into account the singles. Singles are a really nice price, but obviously it's a minuscule amount. But added all up, if you were doing loads and loads and loads, that would be good. Right, so I've come back to you on the actual instead of the plug price. See whether there is, you know, whether it's worth it. But of course, for me, it is worth it. That's yummy. Anyway, moving on to plug soup. Let's show you an easy way. Well, it's plug soup with a twist. I'm not boiling in a pan. I'm not boiling in a fire pit. I'm going to try something a bit different. And I'll show you. Let's weigh up this one. Oh. Okay, so no, it was leaning. We've got 9.5, so 9.5 kilograms of these annoying moulded plugs. A very moulded plug. So in here we've got mostly the UK plugs. As you saw, I had a couple of adapters that had a couple of these in. We'll just chuck them in for good measure. I may as well. I know that obviously Ralph Morrick's done is doing a plug soup video. Cruiser Mac has done it. I think Ian Matthews did one. Yeah, of course he did. He used that thing he created. That very elaborate furnace thingy. And obviously there was Snobby, but he's not active on YouTube anymore, so I can't link his video. He was actually the first person I saw do this, using water to boil up the plugs. Now, I wouldn't incinerate, I wouldn't do anything horribly unenvironmentally friendly like that, but the idea is you use water to just soften these moulded shells, and then you can break out the pins. So I can see a little fusey in there. I should really... Oh man, I should get these fuses out first, shouldn't I? Do you think I can be bothered to do that? Got a nice thing of fuses. You might think, what's she taking all the fuses for? Well, there's a bit of silver recovery in fuses. But actually, I have another use for these. That will become clear in the future. Not too distant future. Watch this space on the fuses. Right, so there we go. 9.5 kilograms of plugs. Once I know the plug price, I could tell you what I could get as is. So hopefully at the end of this video I'll be able to give you that info. And I'm going to tell you what pinnage I get out of these ones. Okay, so for my plug soup, I'm really making plug tea. So I'm intending on using this Burco Catering tea urn, hot water urn, to boil up a storm. And I can adjust the settings. I'm just hoping it works. I found it in an outbuilding. Cord looks okay. So I'm going to plug it. I'm going to put a bit of water in. I'm just not too sure. I'm coming. How long this thing's going to take to heat up. I think it might be a while. Now, Okay, first things first, before I actually fill this thing with plugs, let's see if it works. And let's try to not overload my... Oh. Should be alright. Probably quite a powerful... Right. We have lights! We have light, we have light, we have light, and a reflection of me dancing to the light. Okay, so turn it right round to 6. Now this should heat up, but of course it's going to take quite some time to heat up. Now I could have put boiling water in here first, but that's a faff of going in and out and what have you, so... This isn't stainless, obviously, because it's sticking to my watch. Okay. Well, let's see. Where are we now? 12:56. I reckon that's going to take a good 30, 45 minutes, probably, maybe even an hour. So what can I do in the meantime? Let's sort the cordage, I guess. Well, this is encouraging. It's only 1:02 and I can see some bubbles appearing where the water is already beginning to boil. An efficient urn we have here. So I'm just spending time sorting these fiddly little bits of singles wire because they're worth so much money. And then they quickly turn into this, which quickly turns into a full bag, and voila! It'll be long, so I'm letting it come to the boil first, because obviously if I put the plugs in and do it, it's going to take a lot longer to actually bring it to the boil. So I'm going to get the water up to temperature, and then I'm going to start putting our pluggy friends in. Now then, 1:05. Pretty happy with that. I'm thinking I'm going to start putting in some of the pluggies. Now, you remember how Skip's my friend? Oh yes. Knew these would come in handy. So this was 9.5 kilograms, which obviously is not all going to fit in one go. But let's just... How splashy will that be? Oh yeah, too splashy. Yeah, I'm doing them one at a time because this is boiling water, folks. And I value my skin. I've got safety glasses on, as always. Ta-da. Gloves. And in a minute, I might be able to somehow show you my sexy apron. Now, different people do different timing on here. I'm going to try just 10 minutes and see what happens, because you can see this is a powerful boil we've got going on. I've got the door open for fumage, or defumage should I say. How we're looking? Loads of space. Loads of space. A couple of the European ones in there. And we're getting to the stage where we're beginning to poke out the top, so I'm thinking we're reaching there. We're not going to get all 9.5 kilograms in there, which to be honest I didn't think we would. But I do want to fill it. I'll weigh what's left. If I get time to do more than one batch today I will, but we'll see. Yummy plug soupy goodness. Alright, so that is 11 minutes past 1. Let's check it at 21 minutes past. Okay, just weighing up what's left. 3.6. That's annoying. That's close enough. We'll add one more in. There we are. So we'll know that there's basically 6 kilograms of plugs in there. Sweet. Uh-oh. I've blown the fuse. Uh-oh. Wait, it says red on. Okie dokie. Dun 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 dun. Let's take that off. Reset. Okay, we've reset it. I have my heater on as well, so I've turned that off. Okay, we're not 10 minutes in, but I hear mega boil. So let's just turn that off and check on the pluggy soup. Very impressed with how quickly this urn boiled. Back in the day, you used to have to wait ages. Not sure they're looking particularly soft. Maybe. So, that wasn't quite a 10-minute thing, so what I'll just do is put it on, but just on a medium, just so it gets a bit of a rolling boil. There we go. Probably steaming up my camera. Plug soup, right. So actually, there we go. Look at that, folks. Brilliant. 10 minutes in the urn is the optimum length of time. Oh, you can't lose. Now, obviously, this is fiddly. You could stick them in a vise. I'm just being a bit lazy on that front because of all the doing and undoing I'll have to do. But sweet. So there we go. Just 10 minutes. I've obviously got my shed door open. So make sure you do the same. Or even better, do it outside. The reason I'm not doing, I could have done it outside. The reason I'm not is because I have children and I can't risk, you know, if I have to leave this unattended for a minute, I can shut and lock the shed door. If I'm outside, I can't do that. So just open her up, close her in. It's quite malleable, isn't it? With the and down. Yep. Yeah, definitely. I'll take back what I said. It's definitely easier in the vise. Just to pull those out. I'm loving that I'm just directly pulling the copper out as well, and it's leaving the insulation in there. Well, that one broke, but. And I could spend the time getting the fuses out. I'm undecided on that. So for now, I'm just chucking those elsewhere. 1, 2, that one's snapped. And 3, might as well just pull off that insulation there. Like a velociraptor eating its prey. Sweet. I wish I'd had the camera on. That one just came out of there like butter. Look at it. as it's mostly out. There we go. You see that in there? Ooh. Still loads to go. Plug soup isn't for the faint-hearted. However, if you're determined to get your brass anyway, this is the way for you. So this was that stubborn one. It sat for a bit longer, just in the water. They're still steaming. The urn's been off for probably a good 10 minutes now. The water's obviously retained its temperature quite well. And there we go. I think that might have just been enough to, yes, get them. And the plugs are getting a little away from the surface now. So, oh, steam again. So what I'll do, let's just let out a bit of this hot water. Plug tea, anyone? A very odd solid plastic but sealed plug that I could not get into at all. So, and I hammered it and everything. Oh well, it's going to come out now. Ta-da. Oh yes. Quite a bit of water in there, look. Put that boiling water back in there, thank you.
Okay, there's no time to stop.
Do you want me to come in for a cup of tea?
Yeah.
Well, that would be another good experiment.
Okay, there's no time
So,
to
my daughter wants me to come in for a while. I've probably done a third, maybe, if I'm lucky. Maybe. So, I'm going to just pop the lid. Might just do one more. Pop the lid back on to retain the heat, because obviously I've just left it off this whole time because I've been dipping into it constantly. Go in for a cup of tea, come back and see if I can still get them out just as easily, because you know my life doesn't work that I can just stay out here for hours these days if I want to. I wish, guys, I wish. But have they been softened enough to just sit in the warm water for me to be able to come back to them? Let's see. Okay, well, I've been a bit longer than I anticipated because I decided to have a spot of lunch and got distracted watching E-Waste Ben's board video. Yummy. And I have a date booked in a few weeks' time for the my board run, finally. Woohoo! So, let's see. We've still got steam coming out of here. So that's great. The lid still feels nice and warm. So, let's have a look. Let's see if these are still soft enough. I hope so. Let's feel it. Oh. Yeah, that's still warm to touch. Should still be nice and malleable. And I think it is. Let's see. Yeah. It certainly is. In fact, now it's cooled a little. Dare I say, that one was actually a little easier. Oh, so here's the first of the European plugs. Yeah, there we go. Nice. So these have just been sitting, cooling for all that time. And it's still... So, yeah, if you want to process plugs and you come across a scrap urn, do yourself a favour and see if it works, because it's going to do you a turn. Super easy and quick. with the urn. I don't think I'll ever do this with a kettle or in a pan ever again, because this is just quick and easy. Adding up, what have we got left? Not many. We'll leave the lid off now. Yeah, not bad, not many. Getting there. Okay, well, this European plug snapped really easily and it's full of this white stuff. So you can see there's only a tiny amount of brass on there. For the pain in the backside that will create with slag and detritus in melting, it's not worth it. Boo hiss! Oh, the pink plug. Now, was this from the naughty thing that you might I got a while back? Can't remember. Good job it's being boiled though, eh? Just in case. Well, the things us scrappers come across, huh? Getting down to the dregs now. Okay, done. Bish bash bosh. Let's weigh this mixed jug of goodies up. Okie dokie, so all the tools you need for plug soup or plug tea. Okay, so obviously now this is very mixed, but it is mainly brass. We've obviously got some copper on there and a bit of plastic for the few that didn't want to. They also need stamping. But out of 6 kilograms of plugs, we've got 1.35 kilograms of brass. Well, it's not a lot, is it? I'm doing this for casting. But something that I have discovered, which I had sort of briefly come across with these ones as well, but not so much, I have to say. These are the better quality plugs, the ones that you can unscrew. I mean, look, you can kind of see, can't you, the better quality there. Now, in this pile, there is a large number of pins that are actually full of whatever that is. I'm not sure what that is. I've tried to look it up. If you know what's inside these, let me know, but it's only plated brass on the outside. So if you're going to do these in the furnace, like Ralph Morrick, for example, whose video is not actually out yet, but it will be by the time you watch mine. I won't put mine out until his is out. Then you're going to get a lot of horrible slag material from whatever that is in there, and a really small amount of brass actually. So now I'm in two minds, because I'm like, you know, it's quite an effort, you know. It's taken me quite a long time. I've got the energy to heat the urn, my back and my poor hands. Oh my gosh, it is still hard on your hands, even though, you know, we've warmed them. The constant, you know, movement with the adjustable pliers is, yeah, I can only do a little bit at a time because it makes my hands ache, if I'm honest. They're wet now. I'm gonna put some new gloves on, guys. Let's treat ourselves, huh? Oh, these smell delightful new. Oh, that is a nice smell. Almost as nice as the smell of boiled brass. Obviously, all of these I will do plug soup. So the orange, yellow brass, they will be kept for plug soup. Now, these are all white brass, is this one. It's really shiny, and I have found that it's these really shiny ones that tend to be just snapping to reveal that inside. Here's another one. It's just a real shame. And it could be that because I've heated it with the urn, it's very different. I've done it in a pan before, and I've done it with a kettle before, never on a fire, but I've never snapped the pin so easily, and it is revealing these horrible plated brass pins. And I have to say, quite a lot of them. So the dross and the horribleness you're going to get when melting that is not going to be great. And actually, you're going to lose so much of the weight. You may as well weigh those ones in. However, this less shiny brass has not been breaking on me. So, you know, I'm thinking that that's the solid. Okay, so I have a couple of prices on the plugs. So, from a friend up north in his shed, a yard up there is offering plugs as Irony Alley at £150 a tonne, giving that 15p a kilogram, which would mean that my 6 kilograms of plugs there would have been 90 pence worth of scrap. My yard down here is offering it at the moment, at the time of recording, they're offering them as Irony Alley at £330 a tonne, which is 33p a kilogram, giving that 6 kilograms a total of £1.98. They are just checking though, because they're checking if they still have a buyer for plugs, that might tweak slightly, but they can take it as Irony Alley if nothing else. Irony Alley price. I know, it's interesting given the content of a plug. So I'm still thinking along the lines of what I was thinking before, of because if you are not keeping brass and copper for casting, you could do two things. You can either process them and then turn in the brass, which is what a lot of people will be doing it for, I think. And of course, you're still going to be way up doing it that way with these prices. It's not a lot of money for just turning them in as is. For a little bit of work, if you're a hobbyist and time isn't money, then really it's a no-brainer to process them a bit. However, it's fiddly, it's rough on your hands, takes a while, a little bit of energy. You've got choices basically. But what I'm going to do, because I'm keeping mine for casting, is what I said before, and I think that I'm going to turn in the ones that have got the plastic top pin, and the ones that look like they're just going to be the plated brass that's just going to snap on me, like these here, they've just got, you know, whatever the heck that is inside them. And there's quite a few that are actually like this. So I'm definitely going to process the yellow brass ones. That's a no-brainer. because you know you also, it's not just, you've seen the other bits that you can get out of them that add up nicely. So that's what I think I'm going to do with mine. But of course it's personal preference and what you want to get out of them, what you want to do with them. It's time, money, etc, etc. But hopefully that's given you a bit of an idea of what you can do. And I would say it probably took me, I didn't do the timer on, and obviously I kept coming in and out, but I would say to process this jar here, because those were done separately because they were the screw ones, which I'll always process. These moulded plugs here, I would say it probably took me about an hour, probably an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes to do this. And of course I haven't finished. You know, I need to do further processing on these now as well. Not on all of it, you know, some of it's quickly separatable, but so that's where I'm at. Hour and 15 minutes. How much is your time worth? You know, our time is worth different amounts to different people. For a hobbyist like me, it's fine. I can, if I'm doing this in my own time, that's not taking me away from making money elsewhere, that's okay. So folks, there's my conclusion. There's the easy way, by far the easiest way to get the prongs out of the 3-pin plugs, is to boil in the urn for 10 minutes. Bob's your uncle, easy peasy, and you can see the results. However, in doing this on a bigger scale, I have realised kills my hands, uses electricity, for a very mixed reward of brass plated and solid brass pins in a big messy mix of detritus. So moving forward, it's shown me that ones like this I will turn in, certainly weigh in the ones with the plastic prong, but it is very much worth doing these ones because I can also get bits of copper, the fuse for silver recovery, and copper bits that hold the fuse units and stuff. The rest will get weighed in, and it will dramatically reduce the amount of plugs I have to do. Because, I mean, this might not look like much, but that is from a heck of a lot of plugs, guys. But it does add up, and this is beautiful. The orange brass and the copper mix. The yellow, I keep saying orange. The yellow brass and the copper mix. It's gorgeous. And that beautiful yellow brass. See, these will be nice for ingots, especially the big pin. The jury's still out. I still think some of these might be plated. Maybe someone else can do a video on that. But yeah, there we go. Easy plug soup, or plug tea, whichever way you want to look at it. Okay guys, well, a bit different, all on plugs this week. So thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye. Bye.